Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm sharing with you my Halloween stitching project, mainly taken from this booklet, Casting a Spell by Blackbird Designs, one of my favourite designers. So this, I just fell in love with this look. I wanted to recreate how they'd styled their stitching in this shadow box. But when I looked into the pamphlet, the shadow box could only be purchased at Hobby Lobby. So I did the next best thing, because I live in the UK. So I went the Range, the Works and Hobbycraft. Now, some of the boxes were big, but they were too deep. Okay, so this one was from the Works. But as you can see, it's a lot smaller. Of course, the box was far too small. After I'd stitched a couple of projects, I realised, this isn't going to be right. So I then did a deeper dive into my searching on the internet and found this display box. It's called the Artemio and I purchased this from Amazon. Let's start with what I did with these boxes. So the first thing I did was to paint them. Now I've used this paintbrush. I purchased it from Hobbycraft, and it's a long nylon bristle, and the reason I purchased these is because I knew it'd get in those corners where I couldn't get. And I also purchased this paint. It's just an acrylic paint in a black shade. So then I got busy painting my box, and then I used this. It's a metallic gilding wax, and it's by Creative Dimensions, and it's in the colourway Cast Bronze. Now if you haven't got this, or you can't get your hands on it, I don't know if they still sell it, you can always just search your craft shops for this metallic gilding wax. There's lots around. Okay, so then I applied the gilding wax, and let me show you how it's turned out. I'm really happy. Look at the colouring on that. Just love it. And it doesn't come off or anything. Yeah, so see what I mean about the depth. So there's nothing in here at the moment. I'm thinking I could put pillars in, but I'm thinking I might put some Halloween themed sweets in here tonight for those trick or treaters. I wanted to decorate the front. This is a cutout. So I decided to use this pattern here, which is the crow, the star and the pumpkin. But it wouldn't have been big enough because it's on 28 count. So I then went on my Readly app, and I think it's the Just Cross Stitch Halloween 2021. It's on page 104, and it's a design by Rona Nomi. Okay, and I used her pattern for the spider's web and the spider. I think it looks great. And I thought, what a great word, hocus pocus. So I decided to stitch hocus pocus in as well. But I used this pamphlet again for that. So I get an alphabet there. So I just, stitched the letters, and I used that border. So yeah, hocus pocus. I think it looks really fab. But however, inside, this is what it looks like, because you put your perspex in, and then this little wood panel. So I've laced my cross stitch on the back of this wood panel and secured it with the clips there. And then what I've done, I've just got some card and I've covered it in some fabric. And I'll place that in there with some double-sided sticky tape to keep it all nice and secure. And there we go. In fact, there are endless possibilities with this, isn't there? You could, if you wanted to, you could stitch a sewing theme and make a little sewing box. Christmas themed. You could paint it red and use a gold wax for your gild. And again, You could pop some little cross-stitch pillows in if you wanted, or Christmas candy. So yeah, love it. Like I say, this box was far too small than the one used in the book. So when I checked the original dimensions, mine looked like a mini spell. More than the full casting a spell. So, like I say, I purchased the Artemio display case. I'll take a photograph because the light might be reflective. But I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. I actually wanted to recreate this style. But isn't it funny, because once I'd looked through Readly and seen all the different Halloween patterns, I just went off on a tangent and have recreated my own. Well, that's crafting, isn't it? So I'm going to talk you through a little bit about how I did this box. Here is my box. So in preparation, the first thing I did was remove these wooden segment pieces, because I wanted to create my own design. Now, if you want to, you can create the same design as this. There's nothing stopping you, but I just had been looking at Readly and I liked some of the other patterns in there, so I thought I'd do a bit of a mishmash here. So the first thing I did is got my partner to remove these, because they are glued down and they were quite, you know, stiff to get out. So he used his pliers on that, but luckily enough he managed to keep most of the wood that he'd removed intact, so that was good. So once I'd decided what my design was going to look like, what pieces I was going to use, I laid them all out, and that gave me an idea where to actually place the wood. These are the Blackbird Designs, these ones. I'll bring it a bit closer and you can see there's a little star down there as well. It's a little bit cumbersome there. So these are the Blackbird Designs. Now these are laced to mount board. I haven't done them in, I've used threads from Stash. I haven't used the Core 4 threads. I think they've turned out okay. So to adhere them to the box, I've used double-sided tape. So once laced up on the mount board, I then stuck them down with double-sided tape. So these are going nowhere. There is a good YouTube tutorial. I'm going to pop a link into that, and it's Nisi Lynn, and she talks a way through how she put her box together. She's got the actual Hobby Lobby one because she's based in the States, but she wanted hers to be removable so she can use the box for other stitching projects according to the season. So I think she's used magnets, but yeah, I'll pop a link in, like I say, and then you can go and watch her, because she really does give you some good advice. It's a great tutorial. The pillows, I did stitch two of the pillows from Casting a Spell. It was this one and that one. This one's on a 28 Cashel linen, and this one is on a 25. That was good fun stitching that. But as I say, I think they use a 32 count, so it'll all come out at different sizes. Their pillows do puff up a little bit, you see, to give some dimension. And to do that, they've used what they call Jello pudding boxes. Now, we don't have Jello in the UK, although, funnily enough, I have got two boxes what I bought back from the States. But our Roundtree jelly boxes aren't deep enough. But what you do is you need to get a box or make a box and cut it to size. Okay, and then what you need to do is fill it with squares of batting the same size of the box. So you fill your box and you go a little bit higher than the box, then you put your cross stitch piece over, and then you lace it around the box, you see, and then you pop your box in and fix it in. And Nisi Lynn explains all this, and she did it a different way, so that'd be a great tutorial for you to watch. As for me, I'm not bothered, I'm fixing mine in. All I did with this is get some card again, some hard, you know, the thick card, and I stacked it up about an inch or so and glued it to the bottom and stuck my pillar on top of the card, so that gives it a bit more height. This one I didn't need to bother with because it's a bigger count. Okay, with the pieces that I've stitched, I can't remember where I stitched it. It was a magazine on Readly, the Halloween one. If I do find it on my next vlog, I'll include it, you know, the reference, but yeah, sorry about that. But you can look through the Halloween magazines, whether you purchase them or you look at them online, you know, you can get your patterns, and there's plenty with little haunted houses and the tree there. This one is a trick, and then I've got, let me bring it a bit closer, at the bottom it says treat, and I love that. I love the variation in the DMC that I've used. I've used the 32 count for the trick and the treat, and I've used this thread. This is the number 4124, and it's this lovely, it's like a pumpkin colour, and it's got some really lovely variation, as you can see. So that's what gives you the shading. Now that was from this magazine. The designer is Cheryl McKinnon. This one here is called Downdraft. I love this, and it's a great way to use up those odd few beads that you've always find in your collection. This is a cauldron, and here we've got all the steam coming out and like these beads acting as the bubbles. So yeah, that's a cute one, and it's called Downdraft, and it's from Just Cross Stitch Special, and that one was the 30th of June 2020. By Gunay Ewan, I think her name is. I've probably got that wrong and butchered it, but I've put it all in titles for you. The other thing I did is I did adhere some lace around the edge of, you know, the perspex, and that was because the perspex is inlaid. You can't get it out, it's glued in, but you could see the clear wood, okay, and I couldn't get to it with a paintbrush. I tried painting on the perspex just to hide it with the black acrylic paint, but it wouldn't adhere to the perspex, and I couldn't use a sharpening either. That looked, you know, just looked a hot mess. So I've gone and glued this using double-sided tape, this lace, and I think it looks really pretty. I just think it's a great way to use up those scraps, and like I say, you don't have to just use it for cross stitch. You can also, you know, use it for crocheted items, knitted, quilted. You could quilt little pillows, and then with your quilting, with your piecing, you could lace it to a little mount board if you wanted the different dimensions. You don't just have to do cross stitch. Well, I love this, I really do. I'm going to go now and purchase some sweets. In the Advent, I get some little trick-and-treaters knocking on the door. Happy stitching and Halloween tonight, and let's hope that you don't get any tricks played on you. Until I see you next time, bye.